Okay, I'm going to work the first part of this question, part A, because B and C are going to be worked the same way. So we see that it's an 80% confidence interval, and we also see that the population mean with standard deviation of 51. And we want to find, when n is 39, the margin of error for an 80% confidence interval. So I'm going to show you how to plug in your formula here to get that answer. So let's see. Okay, so I have our formulas here. The given information is n, the population is 39, and the standard deviation is 51. Also, I forgot to put an 80% confidence interval. So we're going to use the formula for the margin of error, but first we have to figure out this number here, and we're also going to have to look up the z-score in a second. So let's go ahead and do the standard error of the mean. So we know that the standard error of the mean is the standard deviation, which is given 51 over the square root of n, which is 39. So if you do 51 divided by the square root of 39 in your calculator, you will get 8 point, I believe it's 1666 something. So in the example, it will show you what to round to. They want you to round 2 decimal places. So now we can go up here and we can plug in 8.17. Now we have to figure out the z-score. So I will go down towards the bottom here and calculate that. So an 80% confidence interval is going to correspond to an alpha of 1 minus 0.80 would be 0.20. So we have to do alpha divided by 2, which is 0.20 divided by 2, which is 0.10. So alpha over 2 is 0.10. And then what we have to do is we have to say 1 minus alpha over 2, which is 1 minus 0.10, which would give us 0.90. So we will go see what z alpha 10, what it would give us. So we have to look on the table for 0.90. So 1 minus alpha over 2. And remember, to get alpha, you say 1 minus the confidence interval. 1 minus 0.80 is 0.20. And then you do alpha over 2, and you get 0.10. And then to finally get to your number to look on the table is 1 minus alpha over 2. So I'm going to go back to the actual homework problem and look at the table. And you got to go as close to 0.90 on the table. So here's 0.898 and here is 0.8997. So this is the closest. This is only 0.03 away from being 0.90. And this is 0.0015 away. So this number here, you look at it, 1.2 go across and then go up. So it's 1.28. That's the hardest part, is figuring out how to look that up. So once you find that, you're just going to, we know it's 1.28. We're going to plug that in up here. 1.28 times 8.17. Those were supposed to be parentheses. I know they do not look like parentheses, but let's pretend we're multiplying there. When you multiply there, I don't even think I wrote that down, so let me do that real quick. It's 10.4576. We're going to round to 10.46, and that would be our answer. Now, if you continue working this, I believe the second question is N is 43, same confidence interval. So what you would do is you could use what you just, the work you just had, but instead of the alpha is going to be the same, the z-score, the standard error of the mean would be different. So right here, when you do 51 divided by the square root of 39, you're going to do the square root of 43 there. So that will change. That number will change. But you do the square root of 43. I believe that's what we just said. Let me make sure. Yeah, N is 43. So you would do the square root of 43 there, 51 divided by the square root of 43, and you would get 7.78. So here you're going to do 1.28 times 7.78 to get your answer for the second one. The third one, you'll do the same thing. You're going to substitute a different number in for N. And that is basically how you use the formula and the table to help you find the margin of error there.